The message came 3 days before Christmas. I read it twice, then a third time, not because it was complicated, but because it was oddly casual about something that felt heavy. Hey, just giving you a heads up, this year we're keeping Christmas small. Honestly, this party is no place for losers. My brother had always liked jokes that walked close to insults. Normally I would have ignored it, maybe even laughed it off to keep things smooth, but this time something about the phrasing lingered. Not angry, just clarifying. I typed back, "You're right. Winners pay their own bills." He reacted with a laughing emoji, nothing else. Which told me he still thought it was a joke. For a long time in our family, my role had been quiet support. I had the steadier career, the better credit history, and fewer immediate expenses. When my brother hit rough patches years earlier, I stepped in without making a big announcement about it. At first it was temporary, helping with his oldest kid's private school tuition during a bad year, co-signing his wife's car lease because their credit was messy after a failed business. The arrangement wasn't secret, but it also wasn't something we talked about much. Payments came out of my accounts automatically. Every few months my brother would say he'd catch up soon. Soon had stretched into 4 years. Over time it stopped being help and started becoming background infrastructure. Like electricity, something that worked quietly without anyone thinking about it. I never complained. Part of me even liked being the reliable one. But reading that message, the word loser kept circling in my head. Not because it was cruel. Because it was revealing. It meant the help had become invisible. So that evening I opened my laptop. No anger, no speeches. Just logistics. The tuition payments were under my account. I emailed the school's finance office and asked them to remove my payment authorization at the end of the current month. Then I logged into the lease account for the car. My name was the guarantor. I requested termination of the automatic payments tied to my bank. It took maybe 15 minutes. The strangest part wasn't the decision. It was the calm afterward. Like setting down something heavy that I hadn't noticed I was carrying for years. I didn't call my brother. There wasn't really anything to argue about. Christmas week moved on quietly. 2 days later my phone rang. It was my brother. He sounded irritated, not furious. More confused than anything. "Hey, did something happen with the school payment?" I leaned against the kitchen counter. I stopped covering it. Silence stretched for a second. What? Why? I could almost hear him searching through his memory for some administrative mistake. I kept my voice steady. "Arrangements change." Another pause. "You serious right now?" "Yes." He exhaled sharply, like someone trying to decide whether to escalate or laugh it off. Man, that's a weird time to pull something like that. I didn't respond right away. The truth was, the timing felt almost symbolic, but that hadn't been my goal. Eventually he said, "We'll talk later," and hung up. For the next couple of days nothing happened. Then the car situation caught up. It was a gray afternoon when I drove past his house to drop something off for our mother. His place was only a few streets away, so it wasn't unusual for me to pass by. A tow truck sat in front of the driveway. Not dramatic, no flashing lights. Just a man in a reflective jacket walking around the car with a clipboard. The leased SUV. My brother stood near the garage looking stunned, his wife beside him with her arms folded tightly. I pulled over out of instinct more than intention. The tow operator spoke calmly, almost politely. "Sir, the account holder hasn't made the scheduled payments. We've got a repossession order." It was procedural, boring even. My brother kept glancing between the paperwork and the vehicle like the situation might reverse itself if he stared long enough. Then he noticed me. Our eyes met across the driveway. He walked over slowly. "You knew about this?" I didn't answer immediately. The tow truck driver began hooking the vehicle up, metal clanking softly in the background. "I stopped the payments," I said. His expression wasn't rage. Not exactly. More like someone watching a puzzle piece slide into place. "This is because of that message." Partly, he rubbed his face with both hands. I was joking. I know. The SUV lifted slowly onto the truck. Neighbors across the street pretended not to watch. My brother lowered his voice. You could have just talked to me. Maybe he was right. But the deeper truth sat quietly between us. For years we had talked. About plans, promises, future paybacks. Conversations that always drifted away while the payments kept happening. What we'd never talked about were boundaries. I'm not angry, I told him. He looked up, surprised. I just realized something, I said. If I'm not welcome at the table, I probably shouldn't be paying for half the house. He didn't respond. The tow truck finished securing the vehicle and pulled away down the street. The driveway looked strangely empty afterward. For a long moment we both stood there without speaking. Finally he said, quieter than before, things are going to be tight now. I figured. Kids' tuition too. Wes. He nodded slowly, not agreement, just acknowledgement. I left a few minutes later. Christmas came and went that year without the usual big gathering. My brother's family stayed home. I spent the evening with a few friends and my mother. No one declared victory. Nothing felt dramatic, but something subtle had shifted. For the first time in years, my relationship with my brother wasn't built on silent obligations. Whether that made things better or worsey, neither of us knew yet. What I did know was simpler. Respect sometimes doesn't arrive through arguments. Sometimes it begins the moment you quietly stop paying for a seat at a table that never really wanted you there.